driven by the challenge to be the best, to rise to a level high above that of his fellow competitors in his chosen field. And in those rare instances when experience joins forces with a God-given talent some only dream about, a superstar emerges. A hero to some, an athlete for sure. But perhaps more importantly, a champion.
That's right.
This is Sunshine Network, an affiliate of Prime Network.
Where there is speed, there is peril. Veteran Scott Brayton found that out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway today in his search for speed, as did rookie Paul Tracy, driving the third car in the Penske stable. Teammates Eddie Cheever and Arie Luyendyk got together for the first time. And 1985 winner Danny Sullivan continued his search for speed. He'll be our guest later on the Countdown to Indy. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the search for speed continued on a slightly warmer day today and a little more sunlight, and that brought the overall speeds down. It also created some problems for some of the drivers. Now, one man who has two cars available to him at the Speedway is Scott Brayton. He has a Chevrolet and a Buick-powered car.
The Buick and the Chevy are totally different in car design. So right now we're working with the Buick a little bit more because I haven't driven a Buick here since '89, and it's taken a little bit of time to get our setup dialed in. But the Chevy car is performing very well in and out of turbulent air, and right now the Buick car I'm chasing just a little bit.
As a matter of fact, the Buick became a problem for Brayton a little bit later in the day. Look toward the back end of the car as it comes through the corner. You see a small pop of gray. That apparently was an oil line beginning to go. Brayton was unaware of it, as were the observers, and then suddenly the oil became a spray. And Brayton into the wall. But he climbed out of the car and was okay.
Into three, we started to lose some oil out of the car at some point. Now, I don't know if we actually lost an engine yet or if we lost where the oil came from exactly. But it ended up on my right rear tire and it spun me. I tried to get out of the throttle across the short chute and slow down. I slowed down quite a little bit, but then when I turned it in, it just got on the right rear and spun me around. So it's unfortunate. I don't know how bad the car's hurt, and I don't know anything about it yet. They're just looking at everything right now, trying to figure out what just exactly happened.
Then a little bit later in the day, watch the red car down on the inside. That's Buddy Lazier. He was just warming up when suddenly the car took a quick spin, almost got into the side of Hiro Matsushita. Fortunately, he missed him and was able to drive the car on back to the pits for a tire change. So naturally, we asked Buddy Lazier, what happened?
Well, basically what happened is we had gone yellow, and I was still warming the car up, really not going fast at all. And I pulled down into the line and put the brakes on, and we had a little bit too much rear brake bias, and it just locked the rear tires up when we spun around. It wasn't a problem at all, and really wasn't too frightening. It's just kind of like a go-kart, you know, when you have all the brakes on the rear, and it just locks up the rear and spins you around. So it wasn't any serious thing. It's like throwing the emergency brake, so there's no problem.
Toward the end of the day, rookie Paul Tracy was working the Penske car up above 222.7 miles an hour when suddenly the car lurched into the wall and spread debris all over the racetrack. Paul Tracy was taken to the infield hospital where he was tended to by Dr. Henry Bach, the head physician at the track.
Paul Tracy left here a few minutes ago after his incident on the track. He's in good condition. He suffered a small bruise to his right arm and one to his left knee. I'll look at him again in the morning, but he should be able to get back in his car tomorrow.
And as you can see, there was severe damage to that Penske machine. And Paul Tracy is being reported, though, as in fine condition and should be back out for practice tomorrow. Now, what about the fastest speeds of the day? Again, they go to Kenny Bernstein's team, and most notably, Roberto Guerrero. And again, they are absolutely awesome speeds. Roberto Guerrero, 230.149 miles an hour. Now, remembering that the cool temperatures are again helping the speeds, and the fact that the day has mostly been overcast has also been a benefit, but there is no doubting that this team is very, very strong this year, both with Roberto Guerrero and with Jim Crawford, and drag racer Kenny Bernstein has to be more than pleased with their effort. And then there's the Andretti family. Actually, quickest is Mario at 229.9, but Michael Andretti was in just behind his dad at 229.87 miles an hour. These are the Ford Cosworth-powered Lolas. Both the Andrettis are using them, and some people say these may in fact be the pole position runners for this weekend. What does Michael think?
Well, I'm pretty happy with it. I think we made some strides today in the handling department. In the end there, when I ran the 229, I was all by myself, and it was the best the cars felt all the time. So, you know, we're getting closer.
Former Indy 500 winner Arie Luyendyk was out today as a teammate now to Eddie Cheever at the Chip Ganassi team. This is another Ford-powered car, and Luyendyk was quicker than his teammate Cheever at 228.079 miles an hour. Luyendyk, remember, was without a ride through the end of last season and the first races of this season, but he is very quick on an oval, and as a veteran and former winner here, is expected to do well.
Well, yesterday we shook the car down, the brand new car, and the new Ford Cosworth is really good. I mean, there's a big difference between what I felt last year with the Chevy and now with the Ford, so I'm happy with that, because that's one of the reasons I joined the team, is I thought the Ford would have an edge.
And another new face at the Speedway today was Jeff Andretti, the Rookie of the Year last year, in some famous colors, those of A.J. Foyt, because he's in that team this year, and A.J. seems pleased with that.
Well, we're trying to. It's a car that I run last year, which is a good car, and we're just trying to get things worked out where he's happy with it.
How's the shoulder?
It's all right.
Of course, he smiles because he cracked his shoulder in an accident early in the year. And then there was Mark Dismore from Greenfield, Indiana. Remember, he was involved in a terrible accident in practice last year, slamming the wall at the head of the main straightaway. Well, he's had a long recovery and has steadily worked his way back, and as a matter of fact, took a victory in the Toyota Atlantic race at Long Beach. Now, at 212 miles an hour, he's very slowly working his way back to full form as an IndyCar driver.
Definitely, it helps a lot, you know. And if this was a road course, I'd be 1,000% confident, you know. But being that it is what it is, and what happened last year, it definitely changes my perspective a little bit. But the more I run, the more comfortable I get. And I think what'll happen is eventually I'll get comfortable again. It's just going to take time. I mean.
Keep an eye on Mark Dismore. You're going to see his name at the top of the list someday. Now, Dick Simon has an awesome team at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 4 different cars. And one of his team members is brand new, a rookie. Her name is Lynn St. James. Here's our Sally Larvik.
When Janet Guthrie became the first woman to qualify for the Indianapolis 500 in 1977, fan and media attention was almost overwhelming for the engineer from New York. A woman was ready to race, but racing wasn't quite ready for a woman, treating her more as a novelty than a professional. Today, it's considerably different.
The stands behind Lynn St. James' pit are no more nor less full than they are behind any of the rookie drivers here, and the cameras are few, all of which may point to the fact that Indianapolis may finally be ready for another woman driver.
Women are into everything now. You know, back when Janet did it, it was a rare thing. I enjoy seeing the women get out here and show them what they have.
The changing times reflected by those attitudes certainly are a factor in Lynn's acceptance here. But there's something else. Lynn herself has served notice that she's here for only one thing, to race.
You know, you just
have to hang in there when you have a dream and you believe in it, and I did believe in it. I knew that it would work, I knew that it would happen, and I knew that it would be good when it did.
But if racing is ready for another woman driver, is Lynn St. James ready to race? Some have criticized her lack of experience in open-wheel racing.
Well, if it was a perfect world, I would have probably come here with a different experience level, but it's not a perfect world. I've been racing 17 years. My 2 wins at the 24 Hours of Daytona with Roush Racing and a Ford, granted those were sedans. My win at the Watkins Glen 500 where I drove the whole thing by myself. Those things have given me a lot of racing miles.
The difference between an Indy car and the 600 and some horsepower cars she's been driving is only one's open wheel and one has fenders. If you're a professional race driver, as Lynn is, you can handle the differentials.
But no matter how the critics are answered now, Lynn knows that her greatest defense will be on the track when she is no longer singled out as one, but one of 33. This is Sally Larvick reporting.
And Lynn St. James has been practicing above 217 miles an hour. Now here are the hot laps, the top 10 for today, with Roberto Guerrero on the top of the board, and then the Andretti family. Gary Bettenhausen finally moving up, and you see Ari Luyendyk looking good, followed by his teammate, Eddie Cheever. That was Brayton's run before the crash. Nelson Piquet still very strong. The countdown to Indy continues. Countdown to Indy is brought to you by RCA, changing entertainment again. By LensCrafters, better fit for greater comfort. By Splitfire spark plugs, more power, more mileage, or your money back. And by GTE, the front runner in telecommunications.
Fast. At the speeds I travel, I can't afford to wear glasses that slide down my nose. I go to LensCrafters because they have so many ways to make glasses fit better, like silicone nose pads that keep my glasses from slipping, and their exclusive featherweights are the lightest glasses I've ever worn. As a race car driver, my life depends on the choices I make. That's why for a perfect fit, I choose LensCrafters.
Splitfire earned a United States patent. Splitfire doesn't look like any other spark plug. And the patented Splitfire doesn't work like any other spark plug.
5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. Quicker in the quarter mile. A 4.8% gain in mileage.
There's nothing like a Splitfire. You'll get more power and more mileage, or your money back. Get the guaranteed Splitfire advantage at leading automotive stores from coast to coast.
A car is a car.
Welcome back to our garage at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm Paul Page. You know, every year it seems that there's new technology at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and the most prominent among that this year is the new Galmer car. Here's a report from our Mike King.
The Galmer sports a different look from most of the other cars here at Indy. The Alan Merton's low-profile design features a carbon fiber tub with a higher coachwork forward of the cockpit, allowing more air to flow over the car, creating greater downforce. 4 years of planning and testing by the Gallus-Craco team also led to a change in the side pod configuration. Gallus-Craco chief aerodynamicist Andy Brown explains.
This is the minimum height that the regulations will allow. We found that if we increase the height too much, then obviously you've got a larger area that you're trying to push forward through the air. So we've kept this as low as we could, and we've also kept it flat for that reason as well. We found if we went higher here and then sloped it down, we were picking up too much lift in the middle of the car.
The rear cowling is lower, smaller, and specifically tailored around the Chevy Indy V8A power plant, and also designed for maximum aerodynamic effect. The Galmer also features twin turbo intakes compared to the traditional right side induction port, and an exclusive narrow profile 6-speed transmission. One other note, the Galmer found its way into victory lane in just its 3rd time out, as Danny Sullivan took the checkers at Long Beach 2.5 weeks ago.
And getting that first win has taken a lot of pressure off of the team. We've shown that we can win with this car, and we're hoping that we can build on that for this month. We're well confident we can do it.
So the Galmer chassis passed its road course test with flying colors. Now the question is, can it do the same here at the Brickyard? For Countdown to Indy, I'm Mike King.
So here is the winner of that latest of the IndyCar races from Long Beach, Danny Sullivan. We have at least proven that the Galmer can run down those long straightaways at Long Beach just perfectly, taking that win there. But how's it looking at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
Well, I think if you look at the times right now, people say, well, you guys aren't going very slow, and that's the question I've been asked a lot and so forth. But you know, we came here with a car for myself, I'm speaking with, that never had driven on the Speedway. I had never been in it on a Speedway. And I have a new engineer in Tony Sicali. And all that we had to learn a lot. So really the third day out, I'm very pleased with the car. We're not as fast as everybody, but we really are learning a lot about the car. And I think that things are going to change toward the end of the week. I don't think we're going to be necessarily a threat for the pole because of the powers the Buick and the Fords have, but we're definitely going to be a threat.
But here, do you need to be on the pole? Where do you want to qualify?
Well, if I take it from where I want it from, it's you know, I started 8th, but I don't think it really matters here in a 500-mile race. I think it's just a matter of having a good, strong car. Rick Mears has proved you can win from the pole. Johnny Rutherford, of course, won from, 28th position. Yep. So I think if you just have a strong car. But this year, the field's going to be stronger than ever. And because of that power, I think it's going to be a little harder for us to pass, because even though those guys are going to run slower and less RPM in the race, they're still going to be strong down the straightaway, and that's going to be hard for us to get by.
You mentioned Tony Sicali, who had a lot of experience over at Newman Haas Racing, now working with you as an engineer. That relationship between driver and the engineer now is very, very special, isn't it?
I think it's probably the most critical relationship you have in a race team, that and the crew chief, because those guys really, what you voice in the car and tell them what it's doing, they have to translate that and make changes in the car to get it the way that you want it. And every driver is different, as close as little Al and I are in what we like and setup. But when it gets down to that fine little tuning, he may like it a little bit different than I do.
Having 2 cars, does that give you an advantage to go in different directions?
Sure. For example, we both wanted to try something today in a spring and a shock absorber. So Al did the shock absorber, I did the spring. He got a good result, I didn't. So we did it in half the time that it would have taken us to do it normally.
The Galmer is a very pretty car. I especially like what they did with that kind of forward-leaning roll bar as we take a look at you circling the track today. Your speed now is not where you want it, but how are you doing overall?
Well, actually, we ran 223 quite a bit and 222 today, and then right at the end, right when Paul Tracy had his accident, my first lap, even out of the pits, I'd run 221.9, and then we had the yellow for Paul. So I think we would have been quicker. I want to be a little bit quicker, but it's only Tuesday. You know, we've got a little bit of time left.
As we look ahead now to the run for the pole on this coming Saturday, which will no doubt happen before a giant crowd, what do you think it's going to take Danny Sullivan to get into this field, and what do you think the pole will be like?
The pole is going to be a big question because we're all running in these ideal temperatures and track conditions right now. Cloudy, cool. Yesterday, not very much wind. You know, ideal conditions. If that changes at the end of the week, or we get a big rain and the track becomes green again, you might see people scrambling to do 4 laps. I'm not saying they won't do a 230-mile-an-hour lap, but I think they're going to scramble to do 4 laps in that range. If it stays like this, you're going to see a very fast field. And I think to really be in the sort of top 15 to 18 cars, which is what, 5 to 6 rows, you're going to have to run 4 laps over 225.
All right. Danny Sullivan had one of the greatest races ever at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. In a moment, we'll be back and take a look at that great moment.
My job is to drive this race car fast. At the speeds I travel, I can't afford to wear glasses that slide down my nose. I go to Lens Crafters because they have so many ways to make glasses fit better, like silicone nose pads that keep my glasses from slipping, and their exclusive featherweights are the lightest glasses I've ever worn. As a race car driver, my life depends on the choices I make. That's why for a perfect fit, I choose Lens Crafters.
Welcome back to our garage at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's go back now and take a look at one of Danny Sullivan's greatest moments. This greatest moment is brought to you by GTE, the front runner in telecommunications. 1985. Danny Sullivan started 8th, but quickly dropped back. At one point, he's just inches away from being lapped. Sullivan patiently worked his way to the front of the pack to challenge for the lead. Then, on On lap 120, attempting to pass frontrunner Mario Andretti, Sullivan spun, while Andretti narrowly avoided the spinning machine in front of him. Miraculously, Sullivan regained control and stopped for fresh tires under the yellow his spin had created. Ironically, Sullivan's daring move was the result of a mix-up between Danny and crew chief Derek Walker.
I radioed to Derek and said, how many laps to go? Because it gives you an idea, well, how hard do I press? Do I just follow Mario for a while? Do I wait? And I thought he said, 19 laps or something like that. And I couldn't read the pit board, so I thought, well, there's not a lot of time left. And Mario's a tough guy to pass. And Mario just came down, to try to close the door, but I was side by side, so I just went with him. But he carried me all the way down onto the apron, below the line, almost to the grass. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have done the same thing. I mean, he didn't want to give up that lead, and he was going to say, boy, if you want this thing, you're going to have to work for it.
Narrowly avoiding a first-turn accident on the restart, Sullivan caught Andretti 20 laps later, en route to his first Indianapolis 500 victory. Without a doubt, Danny Sullivan's spin-to-win victory in the 1985 race ranks as one of Indy's greatest moments. Unbelievable moment. I went crazy calling the thing. You actually had two close calls. The spin itself, which everybody knows and we see, but also that accident on the restart. How close were you in there?
Well, I was really close to Sneva. He spun, of course, trying to avoid Howdy and all that mess, and I missed him by inches. And when that happened, I thought, I've still got a chance to win this. If I've gone through those two near misses and still come out of it, I'm okay. But, watching that, I still get goosebumps watching that. It's incredible.
They always talk when you talk to the great champions like yourself that even on the last lap you're still wondering. Was it that sort of day totally for you? On that last lap, did you really believe that this could happen?
Not really, but where I was really concerned more than that was 4 laps to go. We had a yellow, and then 4 laps to go, they gave another green flag, and those last 4 laps I thought would never end. And that last lap I was just going, don't do anything wrong, don't do it. And when I came out of turn 4, I knew I had it won. That was just incredible.
Is the Indy 500-mile race win, is that the biggest moment in a driver's life?
It's the biggest moment in my life. I don't know if anybody's ever, capped that. I don't know about a world championship, but there's nothing like winning the Indianapolis 500. It's just incredible.
Well, we hope that maybe there's one in store this year, maybe 4, maybe 5 down the road. Thank you for coming with us.
Thank you, Paul.
In just a moment, we'll take a look at some of the top speeds of the entire day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Brought to you by RCA, changing entertainment again. By Lens Crafters, better fit for greater comfort. By Split-Fire spark plugs, more power, more mileage, or your money back. By Cellular Services of Indiana for all your cellular needs. And by GTE, the front runner in telecommunications. Well, the moments get a little more tense as we count down to the run for the pole this coming Saturday at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I know everyone has a very special team, a very special driver at the track, so we want to take this opportunity to look through the performance of everyone who has been out on the track today in the hot laps for Tuesday, leading up to the Indy 500. Roberto Guerrero, his fastest speed of the day at 230.149, not near his 233 of yesterday. The Andretti family right together there. Gary Bettenhausen with Buick Power finally turns in a good lap. Then Arie Luyendyk at 228 miles an hour, and right behind him his teammate at the Chip Ganassi Racing Team, another Ford engine, Eddie Cheever, 227. Scott Brayton after the accident. Nelson Piquet, the rookie, former world champion, looking great. Al Unser Jr. up at 227. Rick Mears, Bobby Ray Hall. That's John Andretti at 225. Emerson Fittipaldi. Scott Goodyear is looking very strong. And Jeff Andretti and A.J. Foyt's car at 223 miles an hour. And look down through the rest of the order of everyone at the Indianapolis 500, because each and every one of them is critically important to the running of the race. Everyone is a very, very strong effort. They're trying trying hard. But at the end of the race, only the ultimate takes the checkered flag. We hope you've enjoyed your time here in the garage area at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Tomorrow night, we'll be talking with Emerson Fittipaldi, the former winner and former PPG Cup champion, and former three-time Formula One champion, Nelson Piquet, a rookie here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm Paul Page. Good night.